Welcome back, boys and girls. Welcome back to another episode of Pain. I'm sure you guys saw on Saturday the Seattle Sounders tied Houston Dynamo 0-0. We're not going to talk about that dog shit match. I could not waste any second talking about how that game went. What I want to focus on is Mr. Nicolas Lodeiro, the Sounders' greatest ever player. Pretty unanimous in saying that. You know what really bothers me is when a player does so much for a club, the players, for his own teammates, for his fans, for the entire city. This guy should arguably have a statue built for him. And not only that, the people in the club as well. The ones that signed him, provided the money for him, the ones who coached him, their legacy gets boosted up too for how good when a player like Lodeiro does what he did, their legacy gets bumped up too, significantly. And he brought a lot of happiness, memories, and most importantly, trophies to this club. Just to give a quick recap, so with Darrow following the 2023 season, his contract expired. He signed with Orlando City, who at the following last season, Orlando City released him, and then he was then signed by the Houston Dynamo, and he played in that 0-0 match. And all things considered, considering his age, looked pretty good. Looked better than some other players on the team. We'll get to that in a minute. But in this video, I just want to discuss and go over more what we found out following that match. Because Nicolas Lodeiro got interviewed by Nico Moreno post game, and he had a lot to say. A lot of juicy, important stuff that I really want to talk about. So if you guys were at the game, obviously the Sounders did do a nice thing, the right thing, honestly the bare minimum. Have like a nice little ceremony for your club's best ever player. Sure, I guess we'll give them some credit for that. Fair play. He gave a nice ceremony. The crowd loved it. We all loved it. But yeah, I mean, just look at for example, just before we even start, look at how much this meant to him. Just like despite all the bullshit that's happened like throughout the last few years with Nico, he still really appreciated what we did for him. So much so that it made him tear up. Like, dude, this guy is man, what a legend. You could just tell that he really loves the city of Seattle. He loves this club, regardless of the stuff that's happened behind the scenes. He wants to be here. He loved his time here, and man, what a amazing player, an amazing guy as well. But as you can see, Nico Lodeiro really loves the Seattle Sounders with all his heart. And then we get to this tweet. So basically, what it sounds like is that Nicolas Lodeiro was released, and then immediately he contacted Brian Schmetzer to be like, hey, like I want to come back. I want to come back and retire here at the club. Some might say, okay, well, maybe we should move on from Nico. He had his time here. We gave him his flowers and he's a legend and all that, but maybe we should move forward. I'm not buying any of that bullshit, okay? This is the biggest reason why. I want you guys to read this closely. I was coming here without any salary expectations, just to help the team be in a city I'm a fan of. We could have got Lodeiro for dirt cheap, for basically the veteran minimum, probably like 100K, even like at most 300K. But dude, we're paying Danny Musovsky 375 or whatever it is. We're paying guys like that a lot of money. We couldn't even pay Lodeiro that much, let alone $100,000 to be a true backup 10. By the way, we don't have a true backup 10. Like outside of Rusnak, De La Vega can play the 10, but first of all, always hurt. Second of all, not really a true 10. His best ball is played out wide. Jesus Ferreira, he can play the 10. He's probably more suited to play the 10 than he is to play the 9, but not really a true 10. And then other than that, you got nobody. So this would have been a cheap backup 10 option. A guy that's played in this system for a very long time. A guy who is an absolute leader on this team, and everybody in the club loved him. So I thought, anyway. We could have got that player for so cheap just to be a backup, like a Freddie Montero-esque. We even brought Kim Ki-hee back. So don't, like, you'll see here. He contacted Brian. He said, I let him know I wanted to come back and retire here, but they must have had their reasons and told me no. There's no possible reason that they could have given that would have logically lined up. Because you could say, oh, but he's too old and past it. You just signed Kim Ki-hee, who's like 35, 36 for the vet minimum. Why couldn't you do that for Lodeiro? So not only could you got him for cheap, he's a position of need. We don't have a true backup 10. And championship experience. Guys, I know we got knocked out of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. First of all, we could have signed him before that. Not saying he would have changed anything, but just on the fact that we were playing in 4 tournaments, so many games. One, championship caliber experience. A guy who's won the CCL. A guy who's, won the MLS Cup. Just a pure winner in this club, in this system before, okay? Secondly, we've just seen how giving guys too many minutes has impacted us. Jordan Morris just kept playing him and playing him and playing him. Hurts his hamstring. He's out for a bit. This could easily happen to Rusnak. It's not like Rusnak was completely healthy last year. He missed the first few chunk of games with an injury. I'm not saying Rusnak would have gone down, but it's important to have that contingency plan, in case he does go down. And it's not like you're paying much for that anyways. To get a player who, let's talk about this, guys. He was at least as good, if not better, than Rusnak on the day. Now, I'm not saying that at this point Rusnak is not a better player than Lodeiro, but what you saw is that this guy can still play. He still has legs. He still is moving all over the field, checking into space, picking the ball up, orchestrating the attack. He was trying his best. It's not like they have a lot of talent around him, so it's kind of hard to do that, but you could just tell watching him play, he's still got juice in him. And for a cheap backup, why not do that? It's just frustrating because the only reason there's no reason. There's absolutely no reason why you couldn't have brought him back on the cheapest contract because salary didn't matter to him. He wouldn't have been a DP or a TAM. It would have been cheap. Would have been dirt cheap. The only reason why this happened is ego. Something must have happened that we don't know about. I don't know if Lodeiro called out Craig Weibel or ownership or something, or maybe contract talks back in the day didn't go so smoothly. Whatever happened, there's a clear grudge against Lodeiro. I don't know what he did, but it's very disturbing that you would rob the team, the club, the fans of bringing back a legend on a cheap deal when the signing makes sense completely in all facets of when you contextualize the entire thing, what he means to the club, the fans, what he still has left in the tank, position of need, championship experience. The signing made sense. We just didn't do it for literally no reason, which makes me think it's got to be something behind the scenes that we don't know. Some sort of butting of the heads, some sort of arguments. Like it's frustrating, guys. It's really frustrating, and we've made a lot of videos on this in the past. We've talked about our off-season moves. If you want to check out previous videos about it, but another quick thing I want to talk about before I end the video is we made it sound so much like this team needs Albert Rusnak. If Albert Rusnak walks, we're cooked. Whatever shall we do if we don't have Albert Rusnak? That's the way. From everything that was reported, it sounded like we don't want to lose him. We'll just pay you. We'll give you a raise and pay so that you'll stay because we, for whatever reason, can't lose Albert Rusnak. And then in games like this, where you're at home playing against a terrible Houston Dynamo side, you gotta do something. You gotta show up. You gotta come away with a goal and assist. So you have to. You have to. And I'm not one of those guys that just looks, oh, he scored goal, he good, or he assists goal, he good. But just passive. Really just passive the entire game. He had a nice couple moments. You would expect that from your designated player. But no, just he didn't take the game over. And I get it. Like we're missing some guys, but bro, like that free kick that you had, top of the box, score. This is what you're paid to do. This is why Albert Rusnak got that DP money. That was his best attribute was set pieces. Deliver in better balls. Yeah, you had some good crosses. You also had some terrible crosses. Free kick top of the box, score. Put it on frame at least. Like, oh guys, man. I'm just tired of making excuses for him. He's not going to be that MVP level guy. He's not going to elevate the team. He's a sum of the parts around him, and sure he'll do a job when you have everybody healthy. But it's almost like who wouldn't? Who wouldn't when you have healthy Jordan Morris, healthy Pedro de la Vega, Jesus Ferreira? Hopefully when he gets in form, that pivot you got behind you with either Christian, Obed, JP, Danny Leva, who are all solid options, whoever you want to put. When you're around this team, it's kind of hard to be ass. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to be someone that could just push us over the top. And he's not that guy. He's a passive player who lets the game come to him. He's not like Lodeiro where he's moving around, finding pockets of space to pick up the ball and make something happen. He's not going to be that. But we paid him like a player that should be doing that. And it's just very funny that a player that a club legend, the greatest, most loved player in the club potentially, we just let him walk completely for very cheap. And just to see him get outperformed or at least on the same level as Albert Rusnak that game, it's just Yeah, it's just frustrating. And listen, I'm not here to say Albert Rusnak's a bad player, but it's just like, bro, these kind of games, you need to take the team by the scruff of the neck. You really have to. Like it's almost like bare minimum, dude. At home against the Houston Dynamo, brother. But enough of that aside. The main topic here, just a final closing statement. The Seattle Sounders have done Nicolas Lodeiro very dirty. The greatest player in club history. You could have brought him back super cheap, veteran, championship experience, winner, leader, a true backup 10 to Rusnak, which we do not have. I don't care what anybody says. We don't have a true backup 10. This signing made sense. And just for the culture, bro, everybody would have loved that. But we didn't make it. He wanted to be here. He wanted to be here, and we said no for literally no reason, no actual good reason. Something happened behind the scenes. Egos are getting in the way of this team, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it. I hope you liked the video. A lot of yapping, but I just feel like this was kind of heavy on my heart a bit because I just hate when club legends get disrespected badly, and especially when they're so passionate about the club, wanting to be here, wanting to make a difference and help and be a leader. Humbling because Lodeiro was the guy here. He was the main man, and he would have humbled and taken a step back perfectly fine just to be here. And we did him so dirty, and it's just very sad to see. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you leave a thumbs up, comment your thoughts as well. Maybe you agree with me, disagree with me, whatever it is. We love to hear your feedback. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Also, we have a premium membership, so in our live streams, when you comment, your comment will be highlighted, will be shown, prioritized by us. And you also get these emojis that you get to use as well that no one else has access to, like a De La Vega, Wyable Brian. We'll probably have more on the way. And it helps support the channel, so it's only a few dollars. So if you want to do that, great. At least check it out. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the video and have a very blessed day.